My initial interest in doing cycle clothing was, I was a club cyclist, and I started buying some fabrics and making some clothes from my one-bedroom flat in central Edinburgh. I wish now I'd kept the first pair of shorts that I'd made, but at the time I was very, very deliberate to destroy them and get rid of them because they were not a thing of great beauty. And then 18 months later, properly started out in Livingston where there's a little bit more room. We manufacture cycle clothing here, and we also design, develop and test cycle clothing and helmets. Yeah, I mean, it's a very short table for 25 years of life is the first thing. You know, at the time it feels like it's at a snail's pace. When I actually see how things have come on in the area that we specialise in, it is a lot of progress. It was very well known at the time, the Orange mountain bike team, and we ended up making the clothing for Orange. It's a pretty simple, straightforward, early 90s polyester cycle jersey. And then CONDOR cycles, just look at this, I'm surprised we even have this. CONDOR was our second customer. Been with them for pretty much all of that 25 years, and they were very much in the race scene. Bradley Wiggins rode in that kit. And you know what, I think it still looks pretty fresh. So yeah, CONDOR, long history with CONDOR, great guys. So this would be 2010, 2011, when we first did our own race team, basically, Endura racing. First year of doing it was embarrassing. It was a bit like that first pair of shorts. We rocked up for the tour series and we got absolutely hammered, and it was on television and I was embarrassed. And we decided at that point, either do it or don't do it. So it progressed very rapidly within a couple of years, and it was the sort of top continental team in the UK. And we won a VAR and we won Tour of the Mediterranean, and that culminated in Tour of Britain. And we learned a lot in that team, partly how to run a team and partly from a clothing perspective as well. Movistar team. What happened in the end, Movistar's a very touchy-feely. They don't develop things in the laboratory, they do it on the road, so it's very much, does it feel right with the riders and so on. And that comes with positives and it comes with challenges as well. I remember sending Movistar lab results on fabrics that showed how fast they dried, because they had a lot of trouble with the riders being uncomfortable and soaked in sweat. And of course I sent it off and I was expecting the reaction of, this is fantastic, let's do the deal. And I got no interest. It was in a spreadsheet, so I don't know what I was thinking. I knew how that would translate on the road and I hadn't thought they won't. And then they asked, could we supply jersey and bib shorts? They wanted to keep it all under wraps. They only told 2 riders about it that they would test along with the other guys. And we got found out on it, not because somebody noticed there was no logo on the chest, but because they were in a really hot climb. And Pablo, who was the guy that was trading with them, but in our kit, everyone else was drenched in sweat and it had all turned a darker colour of blue, and his jersey was still dry. And that's what they spotted, and that's when they realised he was wearing different kit. And I got the call that afternoon after he'd come back, and that was the proving it as far as they were concerned. That's when they said, okay, look, let's make this happen because we kind of believe you now. And it's all made here, which is, yeah, makes me happy that people are making that kind of kit used in the kind of races it's used in and ridden by guys at that level, and that we make it in our little place here in Livingston, which is quite nice. We started on Cervélo Bigla 2 years after Movistar, so this is our 3rd year on Cervélo Bigla, and it's all been based on exactly the same performance level as the men's kit. The whole concept of it was, why should women get, you know, the shrink it and pink it thing? The intensity and competition in women's racing is right up there with men's. It's underappreciated, and we wanted to make sure we weren't another brand that underappreciated women racers, women cyclists, women's teams. So that's been from the start. We've always done it to the same spec as the men's kit. We do the same process with them as we do with the guys at Movistar team. And now Movistar team have their own women's team. So we've got 2 women's World Tour teams in 2018, which has kept Alison, who runs production, has kept her pretty busy. So I've just realised they're laid out, and of course these are all the jerseys on this side, and now I see that we're looking at all the speed on the far side here. If it's aero, if it's silicone, it's the result of a collaboration with Simon Smart at Smart Aero Technology, the Drag to Zero team, guys like Matt Bottrell. There's what you get in the wind tunnel, and then guys like Matt are so dialed in on the road and measure things so accurately, and they know whether that felt 6 seconds faster. Their intuition on speed, it's in the real world. They're out on the road cycling. They know if that suit's faster than the previous one. And Simon, the work he does in the wind tunnel, augments that. It's the bringing the two things together. It's like the Movistar thing of you've got your lab tests in one hand, and then you've got the pro riders, or how did it feel like to them? And it's taking those two things and putting them together. And hopefully, if you get the same answer and a good answer out of each of them, then you've got a good product. Movistar went for their record with Alex in May 2015. I think this is the last of 54 or 56 prototype suits that we made with his 3D printed aero mannequin that we use in the wind tunnel because we can't get enough of Alex. He never gets tired and he holds the same position all the time, and he's not as mouthy as Alex, so it works. But it was money well spent. It was our first hour record that we'd been involved with, and it was a great experience. He did break it, and he broke it comfortably. When that opportunity pops up, you don't want to say, nah, we're not that interested. We were all over it from the beginning, and it did take me back to the Graham Abbree, Chris Boardman era. And the one next to it is Australian Bridie O'Donnell. She's a great athlete, very dialed in, very intelligent. She approached us after Alex had broken the record, and she asked for some support, and we thought she was absolutely worthy of support, and she was great to work with, and she had a successful attempt as well. Tim Don, who is a legend in triathlon. Ironman events, the bike split is so important on it. It's the largest components, the most time, and it's where technology can provide the biggest assistance. He's a guy that understands that and really engages to try and squeeze the most out. And Tim last year set the world's fastest time for an Ironman full distance event. You know, the 8 Hour Club is a pretty elite club, and it comes up with 7:40 in the background. That's a special thing. So we're on to the last suit, which is Vittoria Bussi. She's an Italian rider. She approached us again about an hour record. She's got an incredibly low riding position, and she's quite interesting to work with because of how that impacts on the airflow. It was a good learning experience for us. She has a lot of her own ideas, so there's a good sort of robust conversation about what's working and what's not working. And Vittoria tried the hour record out in Mexico at altitude last October 2017. She was on pace for 45 minutes, but then she got stomach cramps. So I'd expect you might see Vittoria in one of our suits attempting another hour record at some point, ideally in 2018. I was pretty young when I started it. And I suppose part of the joy of that is you don't know what you're getting into. Now, we build heritage up, you know, just by being around for a long time, but it's not what we consider ourselves to be as a brand. Part of what I really enjoy is being able to experiment with things that years ago we didn't have the capacity to do, didn't have the resource to do, couldn't take the risk on. So trying things and trying to be interesting and trying to be progressive is what the culture is about. I think we keep good people here because they're working on something interesting now. They know there'll be another interesting thing again very soon. That's what keeps energy in the room at the end of the day. So yeah, really looking forward to the future and with people that we're comfortable working with.